This is Brant from TradeGuild.net, and it is Saturday the 24th. I just want to do a real quick the anatomy of a trade. What we're using today is AMPL. So I have TradeGuild.net. I also have a member site which is called Wolf on Wall Street, and this was a trade from Wolf on Wall Street. We recommended it somewhere in here. It popped up, made a nice little gain for us, and I told my subscribers to buy it on this pullback. Now I'm going to show you what I used here. There's a couple things you can use that are pretty simple to find trades like this that are really effective. Right now I'm going to show you my proprietary 3C. Actually, this is the 4C indicator, and it is showing what is a positive divergence over here. Basically, you have price moving lower, and you have 4C over here moving higher. This is showing accumulation. Accumulation occurs generally on light volume, typically in these rounding type bases. This one has a little bit of a triangle here right before it broke out, so that was what kind of grabbed my attention, was interesting about it. If we look at a couple of versions of 3C, all of them showing the same thing, that accumulation in here, again accumulation in here, and again accumulation in here. This is actually a leading divergence. If we look at it before it really took off, at this level we had 3C making new highs over here, so it's in a leading divergence, very powerful. But there's other tools, these are my proprietary indicators, these 3C, but using Warden tools you could see the same thing with money stream just jumping up huge over here in red, and in green balance of power, showing a lot of accumulation occurring in this area here where it was basing. And this is a version of their TSV, and you can see it also doing the same thing, showing positive accumulation during this time period. So let's clean up the screen here. Let's jump to a chart. This is a real simple system, and I have a simple 10-day moving average and a 22-day moving average in blue. And over here, this is actually a custom cumulative indicator. If you can't tell, I'm outside. It's a beautiful night here in South Florida. Custom cumulative indicator here in yellow, and moving average 22-day in blue. And down at the bottom in white, I have RSI. Now, to make a trade along, to get a long signal, a lot of people like these moving average crossovers. But like say back over here, this would have put you in a trade long. There's a little crossover on this day, and clearly it wasn't a long at that point. So I use three things. I need a crossover in these moving averages, which we got back over here. And I need a crossover in my custom cumulative indicator above its moving average. We got that here. And RSI needs to be above the zero line, and that happened right about here, and that's a 22 period RSI. So I have three things now confirming that this is a buy, that this crossover is a buy. If you look at the crossover back here, the cumulative indicator was below the moving average, so there was no long there. And also, if you look at where RSI was, it was below the 50. So you can just use RSI moving averages and maybe throw in a positive outlook here on MACD or something like that in lieu of this custom indicator. Generally what happens is we get a breakout from this triangle. Volatility will typically die down. It'll get real tight. If you use Bollinger Bands, you'll see the Bollinger Bands narrow a lot. Right about then you know it's about ready to break out. So it breaks out almost always, especially in these lower price stocks, it pulls back to the 10-day moving average almost always. So the 10-day moving average is a great place to add to the stock, or if you want to be more conservative, you wait for the breakout and then the pullback to that 10-day moving average. So at that point, I said, okay, this is a definite buy here, or an add to. AMPL has moved up significantly since then. So from where we got into the trade, you figure right about here, it's about a almost 33% return in a little over a week, almost 2 weeks there. So a good trade. Now, if you're watching AMPL, the next pullback will occur at the 22 bar, which is in blue over here. So when you see a pullback to that 22, you may consider adding or initiating a position there, because this looks like it's got some more upside to it. If we just look at this chart one more time, and if we just back out a little bit, we can see resistance probably up in this area. We'll probably see a pullback somewhere around 220, and maybe a target up here around $3. We'll see some resistance in that area. Interestingly, you can see a triangle up here. Triangles, big triangles like this, often operate as either tops or bottoms. In this case it was a top, and down here we have a little triangle, and in this case it was a bottom. So keep an eye out for these triangles. Watch for the volume. See, we got a nice volume spike there. And that's about it. That's a good way to trade ample with simple moving average, RSI, and MACD. So this is Brant from TradeGuild.net and Wolf on Wall Street. Have a great weekend, and keep your eye on AMPL.